And that is why Gecko Moria is objectively the strongest and most physically attractive character in all of One Piece.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on that.
You're just jealous of his thick, girthy neck, Obama.
Donald, can you stop derailing the podcast? I'm supposed to be watching Film Red with Jill at 6 o'clock.
More like Film Brown because it's absolute excrement, complete waste of time. Nobody asked for One Piece the musical and Shanks was barely in it.
Nakama, please. We were supposed to be taking viewer questions and not dwelling on fecal matter or Gecko Moria's uncomfortable phallic similarities.
He keeps talking about penises, Barack.
Swiftly moving on. Our next email question comes from Hillary's private server 44. Who do you think would win in a fight, Zoro or Sanji?
Zoro.
Sanji.
Are you effing serious, Joe? Oda confirmed that Zoro was the second strongest in the crew by putting him in the chapter 1031 color spread.
Oda didn't confirm anything. He just drew all the vice captains.
Then why did Oda draw Beppo, Joe?
What?
Why did Oda draw Beppo as the vice captain of the Heart Pirates? You should know as well as I do that Beppo, Penguin, and Shachi are the joint vice captains of the crew.
Don't you ever dare question my knowledge of the Heart Pirates, Donald.
Answer the question, Joe. Why did Oda draw Beppo?
Well, I guess it's because...
It's because he's clearly the strongest of the three, thus confirming that Zoro is the second strongest member of the Straw Hats by association.
Donald, you and I both know that polar bears are banned as a method of power scaling after last time.
You're just mad that I'm worth more polar bears than you, Joe.
Nakama, please. We all know that Zoro is the vice captain of the crew. However, that doesn't mean that he is necessarily more powerful than Sanji.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Barack.
Joe, for Christ's sake, don't thank him. He's just taking pity on you for being a Snanji fan.
Snanji. It's Sanji, you illiterate. You don't even remember his name.
I don't need to remember the names of mid-characters, Joe. It takes up space that I could be using for peak.
Sanji fans don't need pity. Our boy got an entire mega arc dedicated to him during Whole Cake Island. Meanwhile, what was Zoro doing? Sweet F all, that's what.
He was busy preparing for the Wanakuni arc. You know, that thing everyone else was meant to be doing until your shitty cook ruined everything and completely derailed the story for 2 whole years.
Now, Donald, Whole Cake Island wasn't so bad. Sure, it lacked the satisfying conclusion of most One Piece arcs, but that in and of itself was a much-needed fresh take on the series.
Oh yeah, peak fiction. All that happens is an obese grandmother screaming about wedding cake for 30 chapters, and you dick riders want to give Oda the Nobel Prize for literature.
Did you even read the Luffy versus Katakuri fight? That was worth the price of admission alone.
Of course it was a great fight. It was the only part of the arc that didn't have Snanji weighing it down.
Donald, I swear I will smack you harder than Luffy punched St. Charlos at the human auction house.
Just try it, Joe. Then I'll become Marine Admiral Kizaru and kick you harder than he kicked Basil Hawkins on Sabaudi.
Just try it, dumbass. I'll order a buster call on Trump Tower.
How are you going to do that, Sleepy Joe? You need to actually be awake to use the golden Denden Mushi.
Nakama, please. I think it's a bit culturally insensitive to be speaking about buster calls so lightly, lest we forget what happened to the population of O'Hara in Nico Robin's flashback. O'Hara lives.
I'm sorry, Barack, but I'm not a garbage man, and as a result, I don't have the landfill space for all of Donald's trash takes.
Calm down, Joe. Maybe Donald has a point. I agree that Whole Cake Island was a fantastic vehicle to explore Sanji as a character, but I can see how some people would be disappointed that he didn't get a fight.
Who could he fight? He's a loser.
Sanji could have taken out anyone on that island, and you know it.
Oh yeah, you're telling me that Sanji could have beaten Charlotte Katakuri? Come on, Joe. You should have enough future sight to know how badly I'm going to beat your ass in that pathetic argument.
Okay, maybe not Katakuri.
And what? You think he could have beaten Big Mom? She's Yonko level, for Christ's sake.
Emperor level.
Oh my God, don't start this again, Joe.
The official translation says emperor, so it's emperor level.
The official translation also says you're a dick rider. Are we going to stick to that as well?
It doesn't say that, Donald.
Yes, it does, right here. Volume 90, page 45. Joe Biden is a dick rider.
It doesn't say that. The official translator, Stephen Paul, would never
Stephen
distort
Paul.
the story.
It's
fit your
always
stupid
Stephen
head
Paul
canon.
with you. If you love Stephen Paul so much, why don't you marry him and have a series of poorly but officially translated babies all named Zolo?
Donald, I don't think it's fair to instantly dismiss Sanji. Perhaps during Whole Cake Island he was no match for Katakuri, but post-Wanakuni Sanji is a different matter entirely.
Barack's spitting pure facts. Sanji beat Queen during the raid on Onigashima. That clearly makes him commander level.
Yonko Commander 2 maybe, but Zoro beat King. That obviously makes him Yonko Commander 1 level, if not outright Yonko level.
You're full of malarkey, Donald. You and I both know that Zoro is not emperor level. He's not even an emperor.
You don't have to be a Yonko to have Yonko level power, Joe.
Yes, you do. Otherwise, we wouldn't call it emperor level.
I think it varies from emperor to emperor, remembering that Buggy is now considered one of the 4 emperors.
That's right, Obama. That means that Buggy is officially stronger than Snanji.
Malarkey. Sanji low diffs Buggy and mid diffs Zoro.
Nakama, please. If you two can't get along, then I'm going to go full Shanks on this Paramount War and whip out my Conquerors Hockey.
And that's another thing. Sanji doesn't even have Conquerors Hockey.
He doesn't need it. He has genetic enhancements spliced into his bloodline elements from Vinsmoke Judge.
So what you're saying is that even with the world's greatest scientific hacks, Sanji still can't stand up to Zoro.
That's not what I'm saying, Donald, and you know it.
You're saying that before his enhancements awakened, Sanji was somehow even more pathetic than he already is.
Again, I did not say that.
You're saying you're a Sanji dick rider, Joe. Just admit it.
I've never ridden a dick in my life, Donald. And if I did, it wouldn't be Sanji's because he's a 2D character, you illiterate.
Nakama, please, let's all just calm down and stop getting the video demonetized. Donald, for what it's worth, I do think that Zoro is stronger than Sanji.
Do not betray me, Barack.
However, I think the fight would be a lot closer than you think. It's definitely a high diff matchup.
Oh, please. The only thing that's high diff is Sleepy Joe struggling to stay awake during this debate.
No, the only thing that's high diff is getting you to go a day without stuffing your face with McDonald's.
A day without McDonald's is a day wasted, Joe.
About as wasted as Zoro would be after fighting Sanji.
I think Joe raises a fair point. Again, if this were pre-time skip Sanji we were talking about, then it would obviously go to Zoro no contest. However, post-time skip Sanji has received significant buffs in speed, power, and durability.
You know what else he received during the time skip?
Don't you dare, Donald.
He also received a very pretty dress from the Okama.
We agreed not to talk about the dress.
You know who's never worn a dress? Zoro.
Barack, he won't stop talking about the dress.
Donald, there's nothing wrong with wearing a dress. Even Luffy briefly wore a dress during One Piece film Gold.
Yeah, for comic relief, which is exactly what Sanji is. Dress-wearing comic relief. Even on Egghead Island, his new outfit is a joke.
Sanji doesn't need a cool outfit, Donald. He's a character of substance and isn't defined purely by aesthetics like Zoro.
Oh yeah, peak character. The biggest challenge he has to overcome in every arc is figuring out which pair of boobs to simp over.
Joe, I'm with Donald on this one. Sanji's behavior towards women in the series is a relic of a time gone by. The pervy jokes don't work as well for me in 2023 as they did in the early 2000s.
You know who doesn't need to simp to get women? Zoro. He's such a Giga Chad alpha that they all just come to him. Hiyori, Tashigi, Viola.
Viola was not attracted to Zoro, dumbass.
Joe, every woman is attracted to Zoro.
But she spent most of her time with Sanji.
Yeah, but she was thinking about Zoro.
No, she was thinking about how to save her kingdom from the tyranny of Doflamingo.
Oh, please. She wasn't even thinking about that before the Straw Hats arrived. Did you know that Viola had sex with Doflamingo, Joe?
You're making that up.
It's in the SBS, Joe. Learn to read.
I hate to say it, but Donald is correct. In the SBS of Volume 83, Oda confirmed that Viola had a, quote, adult relationship with Doflamingo, adding that Dressrosa is a, quote, truly passionate country.
I don't blame him. If Viola were my daughter, I'd probably date her as well.
Viola was not Doflamingo's daughter, Donald.
Then she's a nasty woman.
Barack, did he just say he wanted to date his daughter?
I never said that. You're being senile again, Joe.
I heard what I heard.
Check the recording, Joe. I never said that.
I will check the recording, Donald, and then I'll expose you online for desecrating the integrity of the Dressrosa arc.
Oh yeah, peak fiction, that's what Dressrosa isn't. 2 whole years for that garbage.
I think we can all agree that Dressrosa was a little tough to read weekly. However, as a condensed experience, it is nothing less than a fantastic arc.
Don't waste your words, Barack. He was anime only when Dressrosa was being published. Watch. He's probably going to complain about the Rebecca flashback.
I actually really enjoyed the Rebecca flashback.
Even though they cut back to it over 40 times in the anime. Come on, man, there were more Rebecca flashbacks than presidents of the United States.
Reusing content is a smart business move, Joe, but I wouldn't expect you to understand that.
It was meaningless repetition that did nothing but make me emotionally numb to the plight of Rebecca and Soldier San. I get the need to pad out weekly episodes, but why keep coming back to that one particular flashback?
Because it was a perfect flashback. It was a constant reminder that at the heart of One Piece are the feelings of the people and the friends we meet along the way.
Donald is making a surprising amount of sense here.
Plus, how can you not be on board with the story of a father and his hot daughter?
Barack, he just did it again.
Don't change the subject, Joe. We were talking about Zoro winning a fight against Sanji.
That is not a foregone conclusion, Donald. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji are called the Monster Trio for a reason.
Now, Joe, we all know that the Monster Trio is a fan-made term and not an official title. And in fact, post-Wano, there's an argument to be made that it's the Monster Quartet with the addition of Jinbei.
Oh my God.
Barack, do you hear what you're saying? There is no evidence whatsoever to equate Jinbei to anyone in the Monster Trio.
Come on, Joe. Jinbei is a fisherman karate master, a veteran hockey user, and he used to be a warlord of the sea.
Shichibukai.
Stop it with your weeb malarkey.
Learn Japanese.
I'm not saying that Jinbei is necessarily more powerful than the Monster Trio. I'm just saying that he should definitely be in the discussion.
Horrible take.
I agree with Donald. This is a rare Barack L, and it reminds me of that time where Sanji and Zoro had to team up in the Groggy Ring to win the Davy back fight.
Foxy for Straw Hat.
Nakama, please. We still have yet to come to a satisfactory conclusion regarding the issue of Zoro versus Sanji. For what it's worth, I think that Zoro is both stronger and more driven. However, Sanji is both faster and a demonstrably better tactician. If they were to fight in the series, then I suspect that it would be a coin flip outcome.
I'm not happy about this, Barack.
Take the dub, Joe. It's better than Sanji deserves.
Now, our next question comes from Obama Llama 69. Who do you think would win in a fight, Shanks or Mihawk?
Mihawk.
Shanks.
Are you effing serious, Joe?